Kia ora, New Zealand. Welcome to Sweet Chain Live. My name's Matt Drake. This is episode 132. Despite what it might say in the title, actually, that looks like it's come through wrong, but it's actually episode 132. Good evening to my host, Morgan Harteveld.
Kia ora, Matt. How you doing, bro?
Yeah, very good, thanks. Very good. It's been a busy week here in Wellington. Did you get out much at all the weekend? Did you get to play?
Yeah, man. I've been out all weekend, all week, trying to get in around every day. Didn't get out today. Had a couple other things on the go, but getting out plenty.
Fantastic. It's been, what did I do last week? I played, I'm sure I played last week. I did. I played. That's how this goes. I can't remember myself how often I managed to get out, but no, that's right. I got out of the weekend on Friday and on I think it was Friday. Might have been.
Wasn't Hosker, was it? That's still coming up.
No, Hosker's this weekend, actually, right. Which is actually a really good point because Hosker this weekend, it's on Saturday morning, 9:30 down at Petone at Koi Koi Reserve. If you're in Wellington, get involved, get down there because the theme round this week, or this month, I should say, this is a really cool one. So I don't know I can't remember what the title of it was, but the theme round is that once per round, I think it is, or it might be once per hole, your card can tell you to retake a shot.
Oh,
okay, so they force a mulligan, right? It must be once every hole because else
old reverse mulligans. That's an interesting one.
A reverse mulligan. So you can make if you throw it in from 50. Then unlucky, you've got to go and do it again, right? And if you get an ace, then sorry, unless you can back it up with a copycat, then again, it's not going to fly. So there could be some interesting scores. I think it serves it. My kind of golf is going to do quite well on it, honestly, because I never hit aces. I never throw it in from far away. I never do anything that's particularly interesting. So having playing it safe will probably give them a very, very disappointing choice of shots to make me retake. But there we go. Also, we didn't cover this last week, but I wish I had. I played probably my first ever kind of competitive glow round last week, which was great fun down at this was at Berhampore. So for those who know the Berhampore course, the Disruption guys, which is a local group of guys in Wellington, Ben Morrison, Ariana Hitch, and Dan Smith, I think are the main people who run it. They set up the glow round, so you just bring your glow discs. They've got the lights that go on top of the baskets, and they've also, which is pretty cool, set up some red lights that they've put into the ground to just light up some of the tunnels around.
Oh, that's awesome!
Around some of the holes, which are a little bit harder to see, especially because what you do is you play holes 1 to 6 of Berhampore, which is like the southern end of that side. Holes 1 to 6. You don't play the hill. You don't play the big hill or the ones that come back. So you play 1 to 6 3 times. To make a round of 18, and so especially hole 5 and hole 6, it's really tricky to see because it's through woods. But they've set the lights into the ground; they shine up, and you can see where the thing is. But they've used like a red light, so it doesn't harm your eyesight. Real cool stuff.
That's that's some good setup that goes into something like that. That's
cool.
Cool.
I mean, hats off to those guys. I went for the first time last week. I should go more to show them the support.
Do they do that weekly, Matt?
It's normally on every week.
Cool.
It kind of changes between whether it's a Wednesday or a Friday, I think, depending on what the feel of the group of people who normally go are. But yes, so if you're in Wellington, search up Disruption on Facebook. Hole 6 is quite tricky. Yeah, it is, Brett. Correct. So we played hole 6, which is Morgan. Have you played Berhampore?
I haven't. No. Okay. I have not had the pleasure just yet.
So hole 6 at Berhampore is if you can imagine hole, the one that I in the Gardens that I can kind of equate it to is, and I don't know the number of this, my apologies. It's down at if you imagine the Gardens kind of in the top right hand corner of the Gardens, if you were just looking down on it, right? And you've got a hole that plays well for a sidearm.
Sort of straight finishing to the right.
That's right. Yeah. So if you can imagine that hole, it's a bit similar to that. It's a bit similar to that. Similar kind of distance.
If you've got the knowledge of the course, then, and you sort of know
there's a line, right?
Yeah. Try and that repeat motion that you do every other round. Simple.
Indeed. Well, you say simple. I double bogeyed that hole twice during the round, and so ended up shooting. What did I shoot? Well, I'm a long way away. I shot +3. I lost 4 shots on that hole alone. So nice. It wasn't.
We've got Adam and I have got 9 of those new basket lights that we got from Chris Corbin there. Looking forward to getting out in the warmer weather with those sort of, especially leading into just before daylight savings, that we're going to get a few rounds in with those out on the course. It's just been too cold here, and I know I sound like a bit of a sook, but it's just been too cold here through the winter to get out with.
Not at all. But then in the summertime, you got the problem that down as far south as you are, it doesn't get dark till like 2 in the morning.
Right.
So
it's just before daylight savings, maybe the few weeks leading up to that.
Yeah, but certainly, if you're in Wellington, get involved in the night golf. It's great fun. Good bunch of people. You get to and you can kind of pull all sorts of faces at people and they won't see you. And also, if you're in Wellington this Saturday, then get involved in Hoscar. Get down to Petone at 9:30 on Saturday morning. Yep. Right.
Matt, I just want to just because we're sort of getting into the show, I just want to remind guys that and Matt was probably just about to bring it up because I know what he's like, but tonight we've got the giveaway for the first spot in our skins match at Wahi Tapu. So
absolutely.
Anyone that's in the chat and is going to be playing Wahi Tapu at some point in this chat here, we're going to get you to stick your name into the chat when we say, and we'll be putting your name into the raffle, the Wheel of Fortune raffle, and we'll be coming up with the first person who's going to get into our skins match, which is a 6-hole match with $50 a hole on the line. No buy-in. We'll put that in. So that's something cool that's coming up for Wahi Tapu.
Well, we'll kick it off shortly. We'll go through hot scores to begin. And then after that, we'll kick off the draw, and you'll be able to enter as the show goes on. So if you're coming in late, then that's fine. We'll do the draw shortly before we go through upcoming tournaments a little bit later on. We also want to talk about World Championships. Pro Worlds started today. They didn't quite finish their first round. So spoiler alert, there will be spoilers. If you haven't seen this or you're waiting for Jomez or whatever, we will be talking through results of Worlds. So be okay with that. And then the next thing we also want to talk about is tournament registration. And so we want to talk about how should you set up a tournament registration, and what kind of factors go into it. Morgan, you've organised a lot of tournaments. I've done a couple, but nowhere near as experienced as you are. And I'd be interested to hear your thoughts in terms of how do you set up the registration to achieve your goals, whatever they might be, right? Because each tournament's going to be doing some slightly different stuff, right? So we're going to get into that very shortly. But first up, Morgan, take us through the South.
Let me just get my phone into my hand. All right, so going into the South, we're going to start off, as ever, down at Queen's Park in Invercargill, where my guy, goddamn Johnny Ferrari, shoots a 14 under par. Hot shooting there, Johnny. Over to Chingford with Tom McKay shooting a 22 6 under par. Into Brockville, still in Dunedin there, Calvin Cummings with a 6 under par. And coming in with another 6 under par, the Queenstown Gardens, Russ King is kicking us off in Queenstown here. 6 under, a pretty low but not low score for the Gardens, but I think there's been a lot of play out at Tucker Beach recently. So most of the players have been out there. And speaking of Tucker Beach, Gus Van Gisteren with a 10 under par, my guy from Team Generation. Good man. He also took down the Caladavid Trophy, which is the monthly trophy at Tucker Beach. And that also just come up with its 7th birthday just the other day. So happy birthday to that.
Happy returns.
Ely Point in Wanaka, Connor with a 2 under par. Lismore, we've got Kyle Mushroom Martin with a 12 under par. Scorching hot score there, Kyle. Jelly Park up in Christchurch, we've got Ashton Clark with a 13 under par. Ascot Park, Sam Lycan with a 3 under par. Queen's Park Reserve, Jono Scott with a 3 under par. Brooker Ave to round out Christchurch with a 7 under par. And up in Taylor River, Matthew Franks with a 5 down. Nice shooting team.
Up in the north, it's the General, Jung Ha, who hits 7 under par at Berrenpool. Well done to him. Over the water at Hikoikoi, it's Matt Badger, who hits 3 under par. And up in Harcourt Park, it's Pedro, once again, shoots 2 shots better than last week, 2 under par for Pedro. Up at Linklater, the mighty Manawatu, Johnny Wake takes out the honours with a 6 under par. And over at Maryland's, it's Devon Taylor, who leads the way with 5 under. Callum Petman's Neg 7 was enough to take out the prizes at Spa Park Red, and Roscoe Treble 8 did enough with +6 at McLaren's. Not very many rounds been played at McLaren's, considering the Extreme is coming up soon. So we'll see if that changes in coming weeks. And it seems like Richard Waterston, he seems to own the Henderson recently with 13 under par. So well done to him. Right. Now, let's get into the draw for Wahi Tapu skins. Now, just before we kind of open up the thing, tell us a little bit about well, first up, what's a skins match?
Yeah, sure. So a skins match essentially is, excuse me, I don't know the actual word for it off the top of my head, but you're basically going to be playing a 4-person card, just 4 people, and say you shoot a 3 and the other 3 people shoot a 4. You're going to win the skin for the hole. So each skin is worth $50 a hole. Mm-hmm. If 2 people on the card draw the hole, that's all it takes to push it to the next hole. And that next hole is now worth $100, and so on, and so on, and so on.
And how many holes are you playing at Wahi Tapu?
Just 6, so you never know. We're going to make some tricky holes though. So you know, there's going to be the likelihood is it might not make it past a couple of holes. So we're hoping for it not to get to hole 6 for $300.
I was going to say, because if it pushes all the way through to hole 6, what are you going to do? You got an island hole or something planned for that one to score separate?
Not yet.
Okay, all right. Well,
so actually, just on that point, Adam and I are actually headed to Ohau, up to the Wahi Tapu course this Saturday to go and do some planning. Course adjustments. We're actually looking to take the course back from a 21-hole course to an 18-hole course.
Okay.
Stretching out a few of the holes and making them a little bit more interesting, a little bit more technical, and distance on them as well. And in the same turn, while we're there, we'll be organising where the holes are going to be for these 6 skins match holes, along with also a night disc course as well.
Oh, wow. Oh, good stuff.
So lots to do this Saturday.
Excellent. Now, normally, the skins matches I've seen that have been held in New Zealand have normally been have normally belonged to the very best players in the country, and they've kind of like, you know, they've got a spot because they're the best players in the country. Yeah. It's a bit of an exhibition, right? It's a bit of a everybody follows them around, and you get to see some really good golf being played, hopefully, and you know, that's great. But here you're actually giving away a spot to somebody tonight and you could be MA3 or like juniors.
You could be anyone that's in the tournament, and we really look forward to seeing that, because I tell you what, the juniors division has some incredibly talented players. I'd love to see one of those youngins get there.
And all it takes to win a hole is really to just beat one person.
Yep.
Beat the card on one hole, right? That's all it takes.
That's all you got to do, and that's $50 you didn't have in your pocket beforehand.
Wow,
or
good
more
stuff. Tax free, right? Now let's get into this. So how do you want to do this? Do people put their names into the chat?
Yes, if you guys could put your names into the chat. And Matt, I actually didn't ask you this. Are you going to put these into a Wheel of Fortune? I suppose you have to.
I can. Yeah, I can do it on the wheel of names. Yeah, not a problem.
Thank you.
As they come through. So
So from right now, guys, if you just want to go ahead. Hang on. What's a good word, man? Let's make them type a good word in the chat.
Okay. Hang
on. Let's go with this. Let's go with the word maverick.
Maverick.
Just because it's sitting right in front of me. I'd like you to type the word maverick into the chat, and Matt will add your name.
Excellent. If your chat name is not your real name, then can you please make sure that you put your real name in the comment as well, so that
people might be giving away their secrets here.
Yeah. But look at this. We've had loads of people who've come through. Arnie's in. Johnny's in, Bray's in, Gluefist, I think that's Gregor is in, Isaac's in, Sam Likens in, Scott Brooker's in. Excellent. Well, I'm going to start logging some of these names.
Guys. Good start. Good start. Hopefully we get a few more throughout.
You've got until a little bit later on tonight before we go.
And just remember, guys, you've got to be here when we draw it. So when we do draw it and the name comes up, I'm going to need you to type your name into the chat or something in the chat to let us know you're still here, please.
That's right.
Give you a short amount of time to do that.
Now, Morgan, have you been watching the World Championships?
I did. I started off watching it this morning, then there was the lightning delay, and then I managed to jump in the shower and duck out to work, and I was sort of watching it in between jobs for a little bit there.
Yeah.
Some interesting golf, some really, really interesting golf. It was pretty cool. I didn't get to watch any FPO. I only seen the scores. That was a bit early for me.
The FPO division was frustratingly early. But
did you get up?
No, I didn't get up to watch it. I might do it the weekend, but at the moment it's a school night, and so things. But I did manage to catch the MPO coverage whilst eating dinner tonight, which was very good. We'll be catching the rest of it as we go. But let's have a look. If you haven't had a look at the results so far, let's just bring the results up on screen. So far in the
feature card is only through 11 holes, correct?
That's correct. So you have to go pretty low down actually. So we'll get to that in a minute. Actually, there we go. So Chris Clemens is leading the way with a 12 under par round in to kick us off. Absolutely fantastic shooting from Chris Clemens. Anthony Barella is 10 down through the first one, and Nick Hansen is also 10 down. He's playing in the B pool. Then you have Isaac Robinson, Jesse Nyman, and Zach Arlenhouse, Cole Riddle, and Gavin Babcock. A whole bunch of people on nines. Proctor, Jacob, Matt Oram. I'm going for Matt Oram. Nathan Queen on eights. And it really bunches up after that. But as you can see, Aaron Gossage, Nicholas Antilla, who are playing on the chase cards, they're through 12. And then if you go down even further, because there's some players who haven't started particularly well. Where are they? Paul Macbeth is through 11 and is 3 down. Ricky Wysocki is also 3 down through 11. Who else is there? Simon Lazat is 4 down through 12. Barsby, your mate Barsby, is 4 down through 11. So there's not really. It's pretty close actually.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how it unfolds tomorrow morning, because they're going to be playing those last, starting from the feature card back, they're going to be playing those last 6 holes to start the day before going round 2 tomorrow. So
that's it. I mean, so if you're Paul Macbeth, you're playing your final 7 holes plus then another 18 holes a little bit later on in the day. Yep. That's quite a lot in one day. I mean,
it is a lot, but for these guys here, when they're practicing, this is their livelihood for a lot of them, and they are playing much more golf than that every day, so they should be well prepared for it. But then people like Paul Macbeth have gone into this with an injury. So he's got, I think, an injured shoulder, if I'm not mistaken. And, that might play into it sort of through that stretch tomorrow, not even for the tournament, just tomorrow.
Absolutely. It looked like a beast of a course, Brewster Ridge.
And with the weather just really topping it off.
What really got me was the tee pads. Right, and how slippy and skiddy they were. And actually, this is something which I was watching initially. I was watching a little bit on YouTube and a little bit on Disc Golf Network. And one of the comments in YouTube came up and said, "Look, if you've got a slippy tee pad, you want to disc down, because what you'll find is that you can't turn your disc as much as you would want to. Right, so you want to throw a slower speed disc, so that you get the turn that you're expecting to get."
And I'm guessing that's coming from less, putting less leverage and less power through your stride.
Yeah.
On the T-pad. So
yeah. So look, I think it's been fascinating so far, and it's only going to get more fascinating. There's lots of holes here with lots of swings, and so yeah, it's going to be really exciting going down into the final.
Who's your pick?
So it's funny. Me and my wife had a conversation about this earlier on, and we both picked two players on who to go for. And I said that it was going to be between Calvin and Paul. Really, because I think right. So Paul McBeth finished in the top 2 at Worlds. I think the last 10 years.
Yeah.
If he finishes in the top 2 this year, he'll tie Climo's record of finishing in the top 2, right? Of consecutive Worlds. And I think that he's just got that, I don't know, what do you call it? Killer instinct, whatever you want to call that, which puts himself in prime positions when it matters at big tournaments, right? Mm-hmm. And if his injury can be kept at bay, I think it's going to be real tough to beat him. Calvin he's the number 1 player in the world, and you don't become the number 1 player in the world accidentally. And I think it's only a matter of time before he hits something.
Yeah.
So
he's my pick for the tournament, Calvin.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a few other outsiders. I think Paul's going to finish around 6th or 7th. I think that injury is really going to show its teeth sort of later coming down the stretch, and I think he'll probably lose a bit of timing on some shots, and he'll get unlucky because of that small timing slip. I was telling you just off the air before that I was going for. I have just read too many names right now. European Open winner. Help me out here.
European Open was Corey Ellis.
Corey Ellis. That was who I was sort of looking at as an outsider for this tournament. He's coming with a lot of heat behind him, a lot of momentum, and looking at him. But there he is. He's tied 19th with 7 the round. So I mean, he's right there as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, Chris Clemens' round. I don't know what it will come out rated as. Let's just see if there is a rating for it.
1086.
1086. It's going to be difficult to sustain that, honestly.
Oh, sure.
And so I think that the kind of groups that the next the person who shoots the hot round, if it's Chris Clemens again, he's really in the driving seat. But I mean, generally that doesn't tend to happen. So we'll see. I'll also see if
even if he doesn't win, just to see him right in those top 2 or 3 spots would be really, really awesome.
It would be. I think we just lost some of your audio there. It got a little bit crackly, but yeah, I think Bray makes the point in the chat. 5 rounds is a lot of golf, right? It's just 90 holes of disc golf. 10 shots back after round 1 is nothing indeed. You've still got another 72 holes. If you're 10 shots back, 72 holes to have 5 holes where there's a 2-shot swing.
Yeah,
and on these courses, it's wooded. If the weather comes back, then the chance of a birdie bogey is incredibly high. What's interesting, I think, on the UDisc site, and you can go onto this and you can go to win probability. What you can see here is the person whose probability is the highest is Calvin Heimberg, currently at 20%. Gannon Burr at 13%, and then Ricky Wysocki and Matt Oram at 9% each. Go Matt Oram is obviously cheering for him as well. I just wanted to show this before we jump over to the FPO division. FPO division did complete all of their rounds, and Kristen Tatar hit the highest rated round of her career. And what a time to do it. Round 1 at Worlds is like you hit the highest rated round of your career. Guess what her win probability is right now after round 1?
100%.
Do you know what? If you'd guessed 100%, you'd only be 4% off the right answer. She's got a 3-shot lead over Valerie Mandahano, and I think it's Kat Murch who's also
Kat Murch, and then Missy Gannon and Stacey Walmsley.
That's right. I mean, she's can anyone catch her?
Yeah, I think so, because what I noticed in the rounds that the rounds that I watched today, a lot of unlucky tree hits where you could be dead center down the fairway, take a little tickle off a tree, and you are 30 meters deep in the bush with a 2 to 3 out. So yes, they can. Someone like Valerie Mandahanu, super clean golfer, she could come and do it. And then we know Kat, and we know what Missy's been up to this year. So yes, they can, 100%.
It's funny. So that obviously
4% apparently. Sorry.
4%. Bray's quite right. If Paige was playing, it would drop. Likely that percentage would drop. I feel really bad for Paige PSA that injury happened at such a time that has kept her out of this. These tournaments.
Well, it might bring her back stronger. You know what I mean?
I hope so. I really hope so.
Yes.
Yeah, I really hope so. So look, the ladies division tomorrow tees off at 2 a.m. That's all these times here are New Zealand times. So Kristen Tatar's teeing off at 2 a.m. if you're keen to catch that round. And then the MPO division at Fox Run tomorrow, you have to look down at because obviously these times here don't quite work yet because they've not been finished yet. But if you take a look at the latest round, tees off at 7:30 a.m., which isn't bad considering the time zone is probably the worst time zone it could be in the world, really.
It's pretty bad for me because I got about 3 hours worth of paperwork to do from about 6 a.m. tomorrow, and something tells me it's going to take about 5 hours.
Especially if you got this on in the background. So yeah, tees off at 7:30 tomorrow morning if you're keen to get up and have a look and watch that. I mean, most people will be up, right? But it'd be that's world so far. Only one round in. And remains to be seen what's going to happen from here on. Right now, we something came up recently. I just want to have a little chat about registration at tournaments and how you go about setting like your registration schedule, if you know what I mean. How do you do this?
Now, when you say the registration schedule, you're talking about who can register when. That's
right. Yeah, that's right. So the example that I found was I was looking through just some of the upcoming tournaments that we have, and I came across this, which is North Island Champs. Now I'm planning on going for this, and I've had the date of 3rd of September in the calendar for some time. And then when I noticed was that, wait a minute, if I want to play MA40, which I intend to play, actually, I've got to wait until the 5th. I've got to wait until September the 5th, which is Tuesday, in order to put my registration in. And I don't recall a time when I've seen registration kind of staggered to this kind of degree. Where, do you know what I mean? Where it's quite strung out.
Really strung out.
And so, I'm basically saying what now. People may agree or disagree about this. I'm not sure. But what I'd be really interested to know is Morgan, what do you choose? How do you go about deciding the registration for the tournaments that you've operated?
So like for our tournaments, we haven't run any tournaments with the amount of people that really require tiered registration. And if we're honest, it's only been the last 12 to 18 months where we've just started to see these huge numbers of players wanting to play these majors, New Zealand majors and big events that were happening around the country.
Yeah.
So they obviously, being majors, they want to attract the top people in the country and sometimes the international. So a lot of tiered registrations, tiered registrations I've seen at international events have started off with international and then gone down to MPO and then so forth and so on. It's basically just designed to get the top players to the tournaments. I think once you get down into the amateur ranks, there really isn't a need to separate your MA1s, 2s, MA40s, MA50. There's no need for that.
Yeah.
It's just in my opinion anyway. I understand the want to get those top players and give them the opportunity not to miss out from 150 AMs sort of registering, and then your tournament doesn't have those top players who have battled out throughout the season to deserve those spots. And work their way up over the years to be in that position where they get offered that situation for themselves.
So what I think is interesting, and it's something which crossed my mind when I saw this earlier on, and Bray's touched on it in the chat, which was I could just register for MP40, right, on Sunday,
registration,
and then change my registration afterwards. So I mean, yeah, and then he makes the point. It needs to be rating tiered, not divisional, because that's then something I can't change, right? So I can't, if they said 950 and above, I can't just jump in on Sunday because I'm not 950, right? I'd have to wait until it got down to, I don't know, whatever I am, and certain 914. But I think that's Bray's spot on. And actually doing it this way, I'm not sure. I'd love to know actually what the thought process. It's not a criticism. It's just I'd like to know what was the.
I would say their thought process is basically what I was saying, is just getting those top players involved initially, right. But they instead of doing by rating like Bray said, they've just gone divisional, and it's just been a slight oversight. You may even find that'll be changed.
Yeah,
after hearing us talk about it.
Well, I'd like to know. It's one of those things. When you ask the question, you say, well, of all the different options that you had, which ones didn't make it to the which was the most popular one that you didn't choose? And so I think it's an interesting one, because I personally and we actually covered this a little bit on the stats show that we had a couple of weeks ago. Do you recall? Mm-hmm. When we showed that the number of ladies playing PDGA sanctioned events hasn't changed as a proportion of total disc golfers.
Yeah, hasn't changed at all
in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And so playing PDGA sanctioned disc golf, and I appreciate there's a lot of disc golf that's played that isn't sanctioned, and those ladies' numbers may well be different, but I don't have stats for that, so I can't make a call as to whether it is or not. But in terms of sanctioned disc golf, what I can tell you is that the proportion of ladies playing those events hasn't changed. So if your goal is to increase the number of ladies playing, whatever has been done so far either hasn't worked or has been equally countered by something else that's changed.
Yeah.
Right.
I think the whole ladies situation isn't really an issue that comes on at tournaments. It's more at the grassroots level and actually getting those people involved to begin with. Like when you look at places like Dunedin, and I'm sorry, there might be places in the North Island I'm just not as familiar, but places like Dunedin have a massive drawing of ladies down there. You'll see it in their tournaments that they have down there. They have a lot of ladies playing. It's a slightly different thing once you start to travel and you need to spend that money to go to these tournaments. A lot of the ladies haven't quite crossed that threshold yet. But it really comes down to that grassroots level and trying to get people in at the bottom and just build them up.
Yeah. I think that certain areas of the country do it better. When I look through because I look at every tournament result, right, and so I see how many people are playing in each division in different parts of the country. Auckland do it very well. Auckland get a lot of ladies involved. Wellington does pretty well in terms of getting ladies involved. Christchurch doesn't get as many as I would have thought for the total population of people playing in Christchurch, right?
That could possibly be just down to the overwhelming number of people and guys that are out on the course.
Maybe.
Could simply come down to that, because Jelly Park, I know, is just overrun these days. If you're not there at 6 a.m., you're in a line of people to play, from what I hear.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's
factor into it out there.
That's interesting, right? And we don't see that in Wellington, and yet Wellington's got the 3 of the top 11 most popular courses in the country. Queenstown's got at least 2.
We definitely get big hold-ups of groups here, but it's tourist, isn't it? With rental, it's slightly different here.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'd be really interested to see that. And actually, I might ask the analytics team to do a little bit of a dive into. Have we seen the proportion of ladies in different parts of the country get change over time? Because that might be an interesting one.
ladies and
But, yeah.
juniors, those are the two divisions where we want to see the growth the most.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. I'd be really interested to know. I'd be really interested to know what you think, chat. What do you think is perhaps stopping it from happening? Arnie, I think, makes a fantastic point. Right? He says, to grow the female game in tournaments, do we need alternative layouts? Yes. Shorter tee pads, bigger pars. You did that at perfection, although the ladies' divisions weren't massive, had good feedback. Yeah, look, you absolutely do. Right?
Yeah.
The reason why in the Pro Tour that ladies don't play off the same tees as men, right, is because the ladies' disc golf game is different to the men's disc golf game, and that's. I'm saying it's different. I'm not saying it's any one is better than the other. I'm saying that because they're different, they require different courses in order to test the players to the point where you can, hand on heart, say this is the best player in this division. If all the ladies played the men's tees, what I suspect would happen is that you'd have a scrunching up of scores, and you wouldn't have the spread that you would otherwise do if you had a holes that are like off the ladies' tee pads, right? Because what you don't want is a whole bunch of players who are going, I'm playing for bogey. What you want is the top players going, I'm going to try and birdie this. A bunch of players in the middle going, well, I might give it a shot, but honestly, I'm just pleased to take a par. And then a bunch of people going, I'm playing for bogey. And so you might not get that.
I've just literally just had this conversation. I had a beer with Adam just before we were sort of planning our weekend. We just had this exact conversation, and one thing we want to sort of look at when we're up at OHOW this weekend is looking to add a few BTs, secondary tees, whatever you want to call them, not ladies' tees.
Yeah.
You get slapped on the back of the hand for that one.
No, so they're alternative tees, right? They're alternative tees because you probably play the junior divisions off them as well.
Sure.
And if
MA too,
and if there are junior divisions out there who if there's junior players out there who don't want to play off the junior tees because they're too short, and I want to play off then play off the big boy tees, right?
Yeah, MA1.
Then step up, and that. I think there's nothing wrong with that. So look, Arnie, I think you've struck onto something that I think we all know, but you articulated it very well in the chat there. And that's, we want to see more tournaments that have alternative tee pads for particular divisions. I know it's done in some place. Topor actually does it pretty well. I think from memory, the Topor ladies numbers is particularly good. And I don't buy. I think there was a couple of comments in chat about ladies disc golf not being so competitive or people being discouraged from being. I don't buy that at all. I don't think ladies are any more or less competitive than men. Honestly. But anyway, let's. I'd love to know what your thoughts are on this. We've had a couple more people enter the Wahi Tapu draw.
About to say, guys, if you've joined us late in the piece, you guys want to get in on the raffle for the spot at the skins match at Wahi Tapu this year. We need you to type Maverick into the chat, and if you don't have your real name there, stick your real name next to the name Maverick, and you'll go in the draw, which is going to get drawn in the next little while or so before the end of the show.
Morgan, just. What is that? Why have you got a Maverick? I know what it is, but tell people in chat what it is and why you've got it.
Because I'm terrible at spending money.
So what have you bought there?
This is a Maverick, a Lucid Maverick, a Lucid X Maverick team stamped Zach Melton 2020 die plate. So this is what they use to stamp all the discs for that run.
Excellent.
So there's only one of them. And once that run's done, they either hold on to them or they sell them. I've wanted one for a long time, and there
you go.
So I've also got this one. Got the Emerson Keith Explorer.
Oh, very good, nice. So if ever you want to stamp your own disc with a Opto X Emerson Keith Explorer Team Series, then go and see Morgan, and if you've got a stamping machine, he'll lend you his die plate. Anyway, So
I've bought a lot of things recently, Matt, haven't I?
You have. What did you do during the week? There was something that you did during the week.
Guys, if you didn't catch my live yesterday, I purchased a Brixton Disc Golf Cards collector set off of Mr. Matt Drake at Sweet Chain Music here.
Fantastic.
And I did a bit of an opening
so cool.
on the Generation page. Had some really good cards come in there. One big pull, 4 different world champions all signed on one card.
That was fantastic.
If you want to check that out, head over to Generation Disc Golf Facebook page and you'll be able to find that video there.
If you're wondering what we're talking about, Brixton Disc Golf Cards, we featured them on episode 130 2 weeks ago. It was. So yeah, head over there and try and have a look at the stream because it was good fun. It was good fun.
I'll tell you what, Matt, like after the fact, I was sort of just hanging out on the couch, whatever, and I jumped on my phone, jumped on eBay just to have a look at what some of the individual cards go for, and I was absolutely staggered by the price. I think I sent you a screenshot of one that's the same as that, basically the same as that card I sent you, which was going for $700.
Oh my word!
700 New Zealand dollars.
Well, there you go. So, there we are.
So worth the investment, guys. Sweetchainmusic.co.nz.
Yeah, I mean, head over there if you want to grab yourself a box. They look a bit like this, and they're fantastic. There we go. Shine the light on them. They're absolutely fantastic.
Awesome.
Right. What else have we got to do today? We've got to go through some picks for the Confluence. Blood Sacrifice at the Confluence coming this weekend. First tournament we've had in a couple of weeks, and then we've got a couple of weeks off, and we'll go through some of the results. But you've got about a minute to put Maverick into the chat if you haven't entered the draw yet.
In the chat.
We've currently got 15 people in the chat. So currently everybody in that chat's got about a 7% chance of winning. It's slightly less than 7%, but about a 7% chance of getting involved in the skins match. And of course, after we draw the name, you'll have to pop up in chat and say, yes, I'm here.
Or be redrawing. You only have a minute or so to get your name in that chat.
That's right. That's right.
So,
so make sure put Maverick into the chat if you haven't already. Let's just get the Francis Orange is in. That's a huge name to be getting involved. Right, I think we'll probably draw the line there. Let's bring up the wheel of names. 2
minutes, Matt, for 9:50. Give them 2 more minutes.
2 more minutes. Okay.
2 more minutes. 9:50 on the nose.
2 more minutes.
Let's quickly go over Blood Sacrifice while we're waiting for that, shall we?
Yes, let's go through that. We're going to go to here. So these are the upcoming events. Blood Sacrifice is this weekend. It's in Wanaka. It's sold out, right?
It is sold out. There's 45 of 45 players with 3 on the wait list, myself being number 3 on that wait list.
Ooh,
so,
maybe not.
Late in the piece decision to stick my name in there.
The final meltdown in Dunedin on the 17th of September is sold out. Part of this, the final one in the Black Ice series. Levi took out the first 2 rather handsomely. So we'll see if he can make it a trifecta. I presume he's playing in that. I'm not checked, but I presume he is.
What does the analytics team say on his likelihood of winning that tournament?
Oh, it'll be
above 96%.
It won't be 96%, but it'll be very high. Be very high. Then it's the Tauranga Extreme in a month's time in end of September. Up in the Bay of Plenty. Then the Tapohoi Breeze, which is selling out. I think there's less than 10 spots available at the Tapohoi Breeze. So get involved with that. It looks like there's a whole contingent of people from Auckland who have signed up, which is fantastic, as well as a load of people from the rest of the sort of central North Island. So get involved if you want to be involved in that. We've lost Morgan temporarily. 1 second. Let me just bring him back. Oh, there he is. You're still there. The Hanmer Hot Rounds, Hammer Springs. The registration opens for that on the 3rd of September for Christchurch Disc Golf Club members. So get involved if you are a Christchurch Disc Golf Club member. You can register for that on Sunday. Then it's the Topor Thermal Throwdown. which is on the 21st, 22nd of October. It's sold out. Book my accommodation this week, Morgan. Looking forward to this.
Nice.
It's going to be good fun. I haven't played this Topor course, despite having promised that I would. So I'm really looking forward to going up and seeing Steve and the rest of the Topor Disc Golf Club, and seeing what they've got up there. And it's a really competitive MA40 division. So
it's that one that sold out like lightning, wasn't it?
It was like lightning. Yeah, that's right. 2 weeks after that is the Rapper Rumble in Masterton. If you want to get involved in this, Henley Lake is is a really, really pretty course, and it's fantastic. It's got lots of stuff for lots of abilities. Everybody will be playing off the white tees, which there's gettable holes on the white tees, but there's also some nasties. So if you haven't played Masterton before, it's a fantastic course to play. Hopefully, the level of the lake has subsided slightly by the time it comes to that, because last time I saw some pictures, the lake was more than just in the lake. It was on some of the fairways. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Then it's Moonbay South Island Champs down in Twizel in mid-November. Bros for Change Charity Classic sold out on the 17th to 19th of November. And then Wahi Tapu at Lake Ohau on the 24th to the 26th of November. And with that, let's go and do the draw. Then we'll go through the last set of results. So we don't want to see that. What we want to see is this. So here is the wheel of names. If your name is not in the wheel, but you feel it should be, can you just let me know in the chat? You've got about 10 seconds to do so. I think I've got everybody who put their name in.
How many names are there now, Matt?
There's 16 names, so everybody's got about what's that? 6.5% chance, more or less.
Some pretty good odds there for one of you guys to get in there.
Absolutely.
Let everyone know they should be here.
It's about a 6.5% chance. I think I've got everyone. Let's just have a quick. Oh yeah, no, that's Tom Strawbridge. We've got him.
So just while Matt's working this out, guys, this is the first of 3 opportunities for you to get into the skins match. Yet to be announced how the next two places will be given away, but just keep an eye out for that. And then the fourth will be one of the guys from Team Generation to say thank you to them for being so awesome to me and Adam.
Excellent. Right, let's shuffle this up then.
Good luck, everyone.
Shuffle up the names. Shuffle up the names. Shuffle up the names. Shuffle up the names, and let's go. Best of luck, everyone.
Good luck.
The winner is Tom Strawbridge.
Really?
There we go.
Oh.
Tom Strawbridge, you are the winner. Tom, if you could put a comment into the chat right now, just to let us know that you're still here.
He's gone. Next.
Yeah. Yeah. No, genuinely, Tom, we need you to put a comment in just to tell us that you're here. There he is. So I'll let Morgan and Tom hook up with each other to work out the final details of that. Right. On to other events. Egg Monster.
Congratulations there, Tommy. Sorry, excited to have you on there. I'm glad it's you. I really am. You deserve it. See if you can take more of the money that we love to give you. Tommy won $760 at our last tournament, so
wow,
he's on a roll.
Well, I have to say, I've played a couple of rounds with Tom, and I think he's very capable of taking out more than those skins. So we shall see. If you haven't, if you want to be involved in that skins match, remember there's 2 more opportunities coming up. Make sure that you follow Generation Disc Golf on Facebook to hear more details of how to enter and get involved. Over to more upcoming events. We've got Egg Monster, North Island Champs. Registration opens from the 3rd of September, depending on what division you want to play in. So get involved with this. It's going to be good fun, this one. I'm looking forward to it. Providing there's still spaces on the 5th of September, then I'll be able to go to this one. Roxburgh Open on the 13th, 14th of January. That's the first of kind of a double header of Elite Series events with the Southern Smash the weekend after in Invercargill.
Really looking forward to that. That's going to be... I haven't decided if I'm going to tell the boss I'm taking a few extra days off work or not, but I'll definitely be at both of those, and I'm really excited, not even just to run it, but to play it. It's going to be a great couple of events, those.
Absolutely. Then there's a Seafarer in Dunedin on the 27th, 28th of January. The Topol Classic returns on the 27th to the 29th of January. Registration for that opens on in a month's time. Then you've got a Midsummer's Dream in Christchurch, which is on the 28th of January. Registration opens for that Boxing Day and New Year's Day. Then you've got New Zealand Nationals on Waitangi weekend. The Bottle Lake Open a week after, which is an A tier. We've seen, which is nice. Very exciting, and the Garden City Open, which is at the end of March, which is an Elite Series event. Right, let's have a look at some picks for blood sacrifice. Morgan, who are you going for?
So
I'll just get the field up before we share what the data analytics team think.
With that course, you've got to know it really well, and there is a lot of locals playing. I don't think someone from outside of Wanaka is going to win this.
Okay.
I think it'll be a Ryan Cambridge or someone even like a Matt Pritchard or Ollie Webb.
Okay.
The locals down there, Matty P is out there playing that course all the time. I think the other person that I would keep an eye on is actually down in MA1. Who goes by the name of John Menzies.
Oh, okay. Yeah. He's popped up before.
Yeah, no, absolutely play out his skin at some events, and I know he loves it down at the Confluence. So, yeah, keep an eye on those names, and then I've got my guy Gus there as well. So,
really competitive MA1 Division A. I mean, not only is it deep, and there's a couple of names here like Cooper, who's a bit hidden because his PDGA number's not in. But it's a really deep MA1 Division A.
31 players.
And also worth noting that Hayley Flintoff is also playing in MA1 this year at this tournament as well. Right, let's just jump over to what the data analytics team say about blood sacrifice. They have Ryan Cambridge to win at odds of 2.1. He's the very short odd favourite to win this. Hemi is second favourite. Matt Pritchard, Chris Dixon, and Ollie Webb then come in MPO. And in MA1, it's Cooper Solis and Ben Quinn who are the
I didn't see Ben's name right there at the top. Yeah, Ben Quinn. He's definitely another one. He's one that could come all the way out at the top of MPO if he plays like I know he can.
Yeah, I mean, this we said it's going to be quite tight. I think really, I think Cooper's organising it, so he'll have tournament
he'll be on TD Brain. It's a real thing, people. TD Brain when playing, it's a terrible thing.
Absolutely,
it's gotten me where I am today.
But he's currently the favourite with Ben Quinn in second favourite. Daniel Hunter, who performed well at a tournament recently. I forget exactly which one, but let me just see if I can find out. He performed well. Where was it?
Is he Wanaka based, Daniel Hunter?
Oh, Ascot Perfection. He won MA1 at Ascot. That's where I recognise that name for.
Wanaka based or Christchurch based?
Twizel. Twizel, according to this PDGA page. Yeah. And then Ed Waddington, Sam Cole, and Goose Van Gisteren, and then John Menzies, you mentioned there as well. So it's going to be very, very competitive divisions in MA1. Over to the power rankings finally, and there's no change. These changes are from Ascot Perfection, I think it was the most recent one that was played. And so Levi Stout maintains his number one position in the country, currently the number one player, and really off his last two performances has been a pretty unstoppable. It'd be interesting to see what happens when Jay Watkinson comes back from injury, because I think he's obviously injured himself, I think either at Am Worlds or shortly before, and that affected his tournament there, and I don't think he's played since. Jackson Sullivan is, I think, playing in the Tapuhoi Breeze. I think that might be the next one. Obviously, Tauranga he's playing, so that'll be the tournament we see. He'll be up against Joseph Berry, Simon Feasy, and I think Conor McKinstry in that tournament as well. Ryan Cambridge is ranked 7th, and he is playing and is the favourite of the Confluence this weekend. So there we go. That about does it for today's episode. Well done to Tom Strawbridge for winning the draw and getting into the skins match. Very well done. Look forward to seeing who is going to be in the other free spots, although one of them will be going to a Generation Disc Golf team member. So
Tommy has just messaged me saying, "I love taking your money."
Excellent. Well, he's got a fantastic opportunity in November to do it. We'll be following the results of all of that a little bit later on in the year when they come through. And yeah, other than that, Morgan, what have you got planned for this weekend? Anything?
Yep. As I said, up to Ohow this weekend to course planning for Wahi Tapu. And then hopefully, somehow, there might be 3 people fall off the list at Blood Sacrifice, and I might find myself in Wanaka on Sunday. If not, well, I'll be playing around out here shortly.
Very, very best of luck with that. I shall be I'll be going to Hosker on Saturday morning, where I'll be playing in the Fiend round, which this week, as we talked about earlier, is it's like a reverse mulligan. So your card tells you once per hole which shot you should retake, including putts. So you can't rely on you can't just stick it on the edge of circle and make a circle edger, because they might get you to take it.
Just to question that again, does each person get one? So could you just get mulligan 4 times in one hole with a card?
No. So the card or the other people on the card agree, and you kind of say, "Oh, this shot you got to retake it."
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that should be quite interesting, and should be a lot of fun. And I hope the weather's going to hold out for Saturday morning, because we're often very lucky at Petone on a Saturday morning for Hosker. So I hope that's the case. If you're in Wellington, it would be fantastic to see you there. But wherever you're playing disc golf, take it easy, play well, get some birdies, and we'll see you next week.